So Angela, back in 2019, Shayne and I started this show called Why We're Bad at Dating. And it was just two people talking about dating stories, our dating profiles, all those things. And we want to bring it back, but in a better way. I mean, I always wanted the show to be called like Why We're Bad so that we could talk about things, but we're gonna bring more people in, talk about more topics. But today we are talking about dating, specifically first dates.
Woohoo!
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 Do you like first dates?
I am not good at them. I think it's a minefield because it's not dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
A first date is very different than dating.
Yeah, it really is like, let's first see if this person's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
At least for
For sure. It's like, let's find safety first and then connect second. I do think though that my first impression is just not good. And I think that's what first dates are about, your first impression. So just knowing my first impression, I just know I come off like a little too calculated and in my head. And I think that's what happens in my first date. Like, what is your first impression like?
I have not been on a lot of first dates in my life.
Okay.
Like, and if they were, I either didn't realize they were one, or like I've canceled a lot of them because I get so nervous about first dates that like I would cancel them.
Yeah.
And like one time I only managed to go on a first date with this guy, and I think we talked about this when we were filming recently, but I literally was so nervous that I texted him, actually never mind, I can't anymore. But he was already outside and like in front of my house, and so
Did you send the text?
I did, and he was like, but I'm outside. And I was like, okay.
Okay, balls on him to still go.
I'm a people pleaser at the same time.
I think what's interesting about first dates is some people have it down calculated. Because I think I'm similar to you where it's like, I've had a handful of them. I'm not like some of my friends who like are good at putting themselves out there and will go on a first date with anybody.
Yeah, like it's an audition or like a job interview. Like they'll just go. I've known people that like they'll go on like a few in a weekend. They're like, yeah, I'm just dating. Like I cannot even like picture it or like comprehend
Me either. And then what you said was really interesting too, because you said first dates that you knew were dates.
Right.
Because that's happened to me too. Ooh. When you're having coffee with someone, I was in college and this guy, an upperclassman, wanted to get coffee with me. And of course I was like, oh, he's older, he'll tell me about theater. Because he was in the theater department.
He's in the theater.
And he was like, yeah, let's grab coffee. And I was like, yes, let's do it. And I remember, like, I don't remember most of it, but I do remember him, like, declaring that this was a date.
What? I want to know this sentence so bad.
It was like,
by the way, this is a date, by the way.
But I think getting to know each other is a date. We're on a date.
We kind of are on a date, but also it's like, when some people, like, ask to hang out, it almost feels like I'm afraid to ask, like, is this a date? Or because, like, people get offended of being like, no, or like, yeah, why are you confused about that? Like, it's so tricky.
I have a theory that our generation go with me on this, trying anything is yucky. So like, I don't know, in my high school, it was like trying to have a cute outfit was yucky compared to just like being naturally that.
Trying hard, trying
it at anything. And I think that goes for dating too, because it was like, that's when let's just hang out. Mm-hmm. And you're like, do you want to date me or not? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, like a lot of my first dates, it was just like hanging out in their car at a park. Not like the make out, like horny kind, just like literally like just chilling, like let's listen to Mike Posner, like. That was my suggestion at the date. I don't know.
But yeah, I think there's
the casual first dates.
The casual first dates, it's just, because also though, sometimes you don't know if you want to date somebody.
So true, and that's why I personally, and I think it's just something that people don't think about as an option, but group dates. Yeah. Like, way back when we talked to someone who worked at Bumble, she's like, dude, do group dates. If you're nervous about a first date, even on a dating app, have them bring a friend, you bring a friend or a couple friends, and then it's like an outing. I feel like you get to know that person better because sometimes people are completely different in a one-on-one situation with you than when they are in like a group of people, even if like, you know, there's being with your bros and there's being with a girl, but like then there's like, you know, the in-betweens and like, so that's
I am
what
that
I
way
prefer.
completely. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's safer too. I'm a nervous person when it comes to
too.
this stuff.
I'm also nervous just one-on-one versus add one more person, I'm like back and forth a little. But when it's just you, I'm only thinking about you and what you want to hear.
Yes.
It's not good.
I'm like, did I do a good job on this first
Like,
date?
Do we keep talking about Mike Posner?
So do you have the anxiety like that I relate to because you've had bad first date experiences that like you don't want to happen again, or?
That's a good question. I think it's probably yes and no, where it's like I've been burned. I remember, talk about group dates. Okay, so I grew up in the church.
Same.
Yes, love that about you. And that's where I think the group date was mastered.
100%.
Because it was just like, hey, I remember this boy who liked me's mom was like, why don't we all play Monopoly on Saturday?
Oh God, yeah, that's.
And I was like, yay!
church.
Yeah, and it was like, but that was nice because I got to relax and play with everybody, right? But then I remember it like further went on and I had to hang out with him one-on-one and I was grasping at straws. I think I'm bad at first dates because I interpret silence to be bad, which isn't. Some people are quiet or like a conversation can die naturally between two interesting people.
So true.
Like you don't have to be boring if a conversation ends. But in my mind, I'm like, it's quiet. This plant, wow.
Yeah, it's like, would you rather just let it be silent or force something and say something stupid?
Yeah.
I also wonder too, like, what is it that we are truly fearing to happen on a first date, you know? Like, let's get the obvious ones out of the way. Being murdered. Robbed. Scammed.
Stalked.
Yeah.
I think is a scary one. There's a lot of yucky stuff that goes on in dating that I feel like is scary. But also it's our imagination.
So much. Like even asking, it's such a funny thing, just asking the question out loud. Like what are you really afraid of? It's like literally I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I'm just scared. I don't have actual substance to like, if this person is clearly not gonna kill me and all these things.
Yes.
What else?
Yes. I also think that's like a kind of a woman thing. Like for some reason I'm in a car with a guy that I don't know very well. I'm like, is it locked? Is the door locked? Can I get out? Is he gonna drive me home? Or is he gonna turn around and go to Nevada?
It's in the back of our minds.
It's just like, I'm like, where's my ability to leave?
Right. A lot of it is like, it's not always what the other person's gonna do, but also like, we're talking about people pleasing.
Yeah.
But also being afraid that they have an awful time or like that, you know, like that fear of rejection. It's like, I truly wish I had more dating experience. Like, what do they call it? Like the rejection therapy, where it's just like getting used to that. And like, that's why these other people are so used to going on first dates all the time, because that's not something that they like fear as much, I feel like.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I've never heard of that.
Rejection therapy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of random books on it. There's videos where this one woman, she laid on a yoga mat in the middle of a busy street corner and just like laid there and she's like, I have to do this for 15 minutes.
Can I ask you what you're doing here?
It's a rejection therapy. So you go and you do something super weird, and then the goal is to get a big amount of crazy looks, like, oh my God, she's crazy.
I sometimes imagine someone hates me if they don't respond, right? And this is not just dating, this is like in friendships. And my therapist will be like, you have to exposure therapy. Just know what it's like to feel if someone doesn't respond and don't freak out.
Right.
So I think that's what you're saying is like, go on a bad first date and do that a bunch and you're like, yeah. Because some of my friends who go on a lot of first dates, they're like dynamite. They're like, oh yeah, wait, nah, not that interesting.
Yeah, it's also the idea of like, if I end up realizing I don't like him, I have to deal with how do I get out of this?
Yes.
Not just like leaving the date, but like getting out of this potential relationship.
Because that's the worst is then just getting caught up in something. I have that problem where, as a people pleaser, it's like, I'll be so into the connection that sometimes I'm not checking in with myself. Like I'll go home and I'll be like, I'm exhausted. Maybe I should have left that party earlier. Does that make sense? Like that sometimes I can lose track of what I want to do.
Right, oh my gosh,
In terms of somebody who's like, I want to do this. Let's go on another date and let's do this. And you're like, yeah. And then you go home and you're like, no.
That's so funny, because like even taking it back, when I'm asked on a date, like so many times I will have said, no, I have a boyfriend, sorry. Even if I was single, and like There were times where the guy was like, oh, okay, and like left me alone. And I didn't even check in like, hey, did I want to go on a date?
Ooh, yeah.
But it's like, I have like such an instant like fear reaction. It's like, no, I can't.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think that way about like just literal organic, someone comes right up to you, they don't know you, and they ask you out. I'll always say no, but I'll be like, later, I'll be like, I was flattered.
Right. Like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, the scariest moment in my freaking life that actually wasn't that bad and was kind of flattering. I was in college and I was hanging around outside, like on campus, and I was on the phone with my friend walking to my dorm, and a guy came up to me and he went,
"You better tell the person you're on the phone with that you're busy right now because you're about to be hit on."
That's good.
Okay? All I heard was big hand and hit. And I was like, I know, what? And he was like,
"I want to hit on you. I want to ask you out."
Whoa.
And I kept my friend on the phone because she was giggling up a storm. And I remember she being like, no, I have a boyfriend, I'm sorry, and just lied. But I wish I gave that guy a chance.
You never know.
But it was a little too ballsy for me in the moment. Would you
Yeah.
ever, have you ever gone up to people and just asked them out?
I don't think I have, because I initially am immediately thinking back to like middle school and high school where like, yeah, because I just was like, there's relationships back then, it's nothing.
Yeah.
I very much have been a lone wolf.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like actual relationships, it's because of people always around me. And maybe that's selfish.
No, I think the lone wolf is the hottest wolf.
What are like red flags that you look for when you get on the first date?
Yes, this is so good. Number one, the way they treat the waiter. That's huge for me.
Yeah, that
That's
one I
huge
didn't
for
like
me.
consider until later in life. I'd like, because genuinely wasn't even thinking about the other person. It was so bad. Like in my younger
you're
years.
like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I think the things that I notice about the other person first is what they're wearing.
Yeah.
I like look for the little icks first.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. If they try to little too hard.
Yeah,
Like if
and
we're
that's
in a
just when I talk about
suit.
try. Oh,
If we're in a-
suit.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
No.
if it's just like too much, it's too much.
What's like an instant, like when you see something that someone wears, like if it's like a brand or like a type, like any small thing that you see on someone and you're like,
Yeah, this one's specific, and I hate this because I know some people I love that do this, but I just can't do the flip-flops with the jeans. A flip-flop with a jean makes me lose my mind.
flip-flops in general make me a little nervous.
Okay.
I'm like, your toes are naked. They're getting touched by stuff.
Yeah.
If you're wearing a short sleeve, like plaid button down, like
Okay.
I'm out.
You didn't even cuff it, like it's just actually short.
Like, yeah, and it's like, cause you know, like there's like the Hawaiian shirt vibe,
Yeah.
like those are fine, obviously, those are actually pretty great, but like when it's like, you can just tell when it's like, there's Gap and Old Navy people.
Okay, what's a red flag, like, date destination? I'm not a big fan of, like, the huge dates where it's like, let's go to the River Springs, bring a picnic, and then also see the stars at night and get in and out on the way home.
Not a first date.
Yeah, I think, like, where it's like a big package date.
Yeah.
And
And that's a big commitment, too. You
like-
have to strap in with that person.
I'm like, let's do 2 hours. Even if we're hitting it off, let's do 2 hours.
Yeah, because you really, it's a job interview for the actual date, I feel like.
Yeah, like, or
it's
just
a
being in the
blast.
car for a long time on the way to the date together. For some reason, I just get a little.
It's very small and close.
Yeah.
I get that. I am actually very unimaginative with dates, and a lot of my first dates were like meeting at a mall, and yes, I was like an adult. And
Are you
that
like,
was
meet
a
me
bad
at the
one.
Macy's?
Well, it was his idea, but I was like, yeah, that sounds like a first, whatever. That might have been one where it's like, this might be a date or it might not. I don't know. Or like getting Panda Express and eating it in their truck. Stop!
In their truck.
I
Courtney.
grew up. I don't think you understand. I was just so weird, dude. Like, I never had been to a Cheesecake Factory before.
What a weirdo.
That was when I was like 16, though.
I think also it's so crazy that our first dates are so different because by that time that we're sitting down, I've already stalked you online. I've already looked at where you work.
I need to be better about that.
I've already talked to you a little. You know what I mean? I'm never just like, so what do you do? Like, imagine back then they had to do that. Like, you wouldn't be able to know that person's social settings and like what they do.
But if the other person knew that you lurked them before,
Yeah.
how does that make you feel? Like if they like were like, so you Googled me.
Wait, so if you, okay, I'm dating you and you said that you Googled me.
Yeah, if I was like, yeah, so I Googled you and looked at your LinkedIn and like looked at your Facebook and like searched out your Google images and stuff.
Okay, I wouldn't want them to tell me like that. But I think any person in 2023 is doing that.
Probably.
I think it's
if they're smart.
yeah.
Probably.
Or I think a little research. I think somebody just not knowing anything about you. I don't know. I like a little interest and a little like maybe research.
What specifically are you looking for when you're doing this lurk ahead of time?
Okay, I'm looking for cringe things to not be there.
Yes. Like what?
Like I'm like
The selfie that's like this?
yeah. Like, and I know that has nothing to do. I know that has nothing to do with like the date that I'm gonna go on. But for some reason, I just feel like there are, because we've been online for so long, there are online cues that correlate with social cues.
Yeah,
that I
you
can
get
connect.
a vibe.
You know what I mean?
For sure, you get
Where
a vibe.
it's like I may not know like if he makes me laugh, but if he did this in his pic, he probably will like, I don't know, like want to do this in his like Christmas card or so. Like I'm trying to think of like what that correlates to, but it just makes me think it's this type of person who likes to make that face.
You're thinking about the Christmas card with him?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the holidays.
It's not a red flag if people don't have Twitter, but I think it's a red flag if they don't have
Instagram.
Instagram. Because it's like, what are you hiding? Like,
Yeah.
at least just post a stupid picture of your latte. Like,
Yeah.
at least I know, like, do something. You
Yes.
have to show you exist. Otherwise, you could be a murderer.
No,
and
I agree.
I wouldn't know.
I was set up recently with someone, not recently, I was set up with someone and I found their Instagram and then I hit their tagged photos and there wasn't a tagged photo for the last like 3 years. And that was a red flag
That's
for
a red
me.
flag.
I mean, I shouldn't like not like someone because they don't take pictures with their friends.
Yeah, like if they're not an influencer or whatever.
Yeah. But I also just like want people to be social, I think, from their Instagram. I want to be able to see like they just do stuff or they have interests.
Yeah, or like if you're into having someone who's social,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a social trait.
Yeah.
Right?
Right? It's just
So-
like a part of it now.
Yeah, but I swear to God, if there's a selfie where it's like,
Yeah.
I'm out. And if it's really thirst trappy, I'm out.
Okay, let's talk about it.
But I think I'm less mad at women for being thirst trappy.
Okay, why is that?
Because I like it.
Okay, so I don't like the big package dates.
Right.
And what are the dates you do like?
I don't need like creativeness when it
Yeah.
comes to a date. I think coffee
Okay.
sounds really cool. Like coffee and a walk somewhere interesting.
My friend, that she only does that for all her
Cute.
first dates.
Is it like museum vibes?
Oh, that's cute.
I've never done that. Which-
That's really cute.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the walk because for some reason I don't know, I've been on hike, like friend dates, and I'm always the one that starts the story on the uphill.
So you're out of breath.
And the other person isn't because they're not talking.
Right.
We're both out of breath if we were talking.
Yeah.
But I'm going, so yeah, then we went there. And I'm like, I'm in shape, I swear to God. And then I'm like, why am I telling them that?
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, I'm
I
trying to
like
think
that,
of
though.
ones I like. I think
I know, 'cause
I'm a
I know
sucker.
the ones I don't like.
Yeah, I'm a
but
sucker for the wine bar date.
That's cute.
I love that because it's not like, let's get whiskey on the rocks and watch the game. But it's like, it feels like a coffee, but it also feels relaxed to me, and I also just
True.
love wine.
Very true. I think if there was alcohol involved, it is a little more relaxed. Because now I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't like dinner dates where it's like eating.
Yeah.
Because I know people are weird about wanting to eeat cute,
Yeah.
and I don't do that. I
Yes.
need to like.
Yes.
And so-
okay. I love that. That's why I had problems dating when I was like in high school. I was so scared to eat wrong.
Yeah, like what the f***, just eat.
Just freaking eat.
All right. So we asked you guys on our community tab for some red flag stories. So we're gonna read some of those now and say our piece.
Hee
Hee hee, story time. You get it cozy already.
Yeah, cozy.
All right. This is from Slimy Leech.
Ooh, excited.
Swipe right. My first date, I was 19, he was 22. The guy didn't have his license, so I went and picked him up. Then we went to the mall, but we were only there for 15 minutes because all he did was buy a bunch of video games and then immediately asked to be taken home. When we got to his house, he asked me if I wanted to come in and watch him play his new games. I said no thanks and left. Men's tricked you into taking him on errands.
Nice.
Wow.
Also, like, I will never be in that relationship where like their whole time with you is like wanting to just play video games and you just kind of have to be there. Like that's.
But now I think it's also, I've seen a lot of guys like the guy I last dated was very insecure to let me know that he played video games. It took a long time.
Interesting.
And I was like, oh, that's cool that you.
Yeah,
like, I think it was like I caught him once. He was like, I was like, what'd you do today? And he like made a weird lie up. And then I was like, or he was like, what did he say? He was like, I mopped.
What?
And I was like, you mopped all day? Or something like that. I don't remember what
And
he
he, like,
said.
finally told
But then I
you?
was like, what'd you really do? And he was like,
I'm sorry, I'm just insecure. I don't want you to think I'm one of those guys, but I played video games today.
I was like, oh, that's fine. I just.
Yeah, I actively like guys and people who are into gaming, like, cause I relate to that, cause I love gaming.
Yeah. But you're right though, it's the doing it in front of us or doing it with our time together that gets a little dicey.
Okay, this one's from Sarah Collins. The guy apologized after every single thing he said. Damien? I described it to friends like if our banter was a tennis game and I would hit the ball over the net, he would let it hit the ground, pick it up, and apologetically walk it over to me and return it to my hand. So, that was an analogy. That wasn't actually
it wasn't
happen.
a real
It was just
story.
that's how their banter felt. Like,
like
I
it
would
was
say
kind of-
something witty to you, and then you'd be like, "Hey, yeah, sorry." It's. I think a lot of it, because I have been this person. My sister has literally like gotten angry with me and told me to stop because I was doing it a lot, and I think I plug it into like imposter syndrome of like I want you to know that if I said something stupid and you think I said that thing that was stupid, I already know that it was stupid.
Oh my
so
God,
I'm sorry.
yes. I want to beat you to it, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want you to think something negative about me that I haven't already thought.
Yeah, like I'm aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? What is that? I think that's just like,
It's trying to protect ourselves.
or some trauma from the first time you were bullied and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't know this is gross about me, and then beat them
Exactly.
to it or something. I don't know.
This one's from Bonnie Lovely. I went on a sushi date with this guy once. He asked if I liked anime. I said yes, and then he pulled out an iPad. He started reading his My Anime list starting from A and explaining the plot of every single anime he had ever seen and giving it a ranking out of 10. I mentally checked out until he got to O. Oh, like alphabetically? And said One Piece, 0 out of 10. Never seen it. Hello? You rate something 0 out of 10 and you've never seen. Okay. I'm a huge One Piece fan, so I should have seen that as a sign to leave. But I didn't leave because I wanted to give him a chance without any judgment. So we get our food, split the bill, all is well. And then he turns to me and says, we've been on this date for 112 minutes. My brother and I have a rare disease where we will die at the age of 25. I'm 24 and I need to have children. What do you think about all this? I pretended I had to go to the bathroom and left.
A rare disease where you die at 25?
I'm not sure what the biggest red flag was, but I didn't go on a second date with him. No, that was for sure a lie to have sex. I'm gonna die at 25 and I want kids now. Can you do that for me? I need to bear children within 1 year.
I need to keep my legacy going.
I need to bear children and show them my anime. If you're bringing an iPad to the date,
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
I think you went to the wrong destination. I think you meant to go to kindergarten.
And you know what, Courtney? It makes me think, where was the iPad? Was it in a backpack?
Don't bring a backpack to a first. Don't do that.
Oh, that's one for me too. Unless you're coming straight from the hospital because you're a nurse and you have a backpack, that's hot.
That's hot.
But if you're just like, what's up? Okay, so the iPad, red flag. People talking about their accomplishments, like, or talking about what they love, like this anime thing. Like, I've had people like lose themselves in their passion a little bit and then start going, right? And then they can't stop because it's something they're passionate about, like this guy in his anime. Does that ever happen to you where someone like just like won't shut the fuck up?
I have an interrupting problem, so no. Speaking of passion,
Ooh.
what are your like? Are you open to hooking up or sex?
Are you open to shackles?
Sex? Are you open to? Clearly, I'm a virgin.
Tell me you're a virgin without telling me you're a virgin. Are you open to seckles?
Okay. Are you one who would have sex on the first date, Angela?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think like when I was growing up, it looked like a bad, or for lack of a better term, slutty thing to do. So then it was so normalized that I think everyone around me, and I was in college, hookup culture was just too much.
Yeah.
And I remember like dating a guy in college and like never have like been in, like just like gone out to eat before. Cause we just kept, it was just like college.
I get it, yeah.
And
I've
it's
been
like,
through that.
yeah, so I think there's a happy medium. I don't think there's problems with either one.
Yeah. I didn't go to college, but I was very much like, all I wanted to, I think, so let's calm down, hold on.
Getting excited because the seckles.
I think a large reason why I didn't go on a lot of first dates is because I was in a hooking up phase.
Yes.
Like meeting new, like I was that person who wanted to get drunk, meet somebody, and hook up with somebody. Hey, like I look back on that, I'm like, why did I do that? I don't like regret it, but that was such a weird period of time.
I think that was what I thought dating was.
Same. I think I wanted experience.
Yeah.
Like,
and I also think for me, I would drink too much because I just would get nervous.
Yeah, autopilot.
And I also think I don't know, maybe this is insane to say, but I think after a couple bottles of wine, I can connect with anybody. And I think like my worst fear when I was early dating was thinking that I wouldn't connect. And I'm like, that doesn't make me a good person. It just makes that person not my person, right? But I thought like, oh, if I don't connect, I'm not worth it. Because if I like this person and they don't like me, bad. So no matter what, connect. Which meant for me sometimes if this person was boring, drinking a whole bottle. And then I'm like, you're so funny.
Dude, yeah. I think for me too, like, I had such a low self-esteem for such a long time that if a date wasn't gonna go well, I failed.
Yes.
Because it's like, there's no way they're not interesting.
Yes.
I just have to show that I'm as interesting. And so that was like a huge thing for me, I think.
Whew.
So we covered a lot of ground today.
I think so.
What would you say, all in all, like what are things that you have taken with you? Like what have you learned throughout all of your experience in first dates? And like maybe advice for the people at home or on the toilet.
Oh, I love that. I think the last thing we landed on is like the biggest thing for me was like knowing that if you don't connect with this person, that doesn't make you uninteresting and that doesn't make you lame. I think that's like just for younger people starting to date. That was like my issue. Nobody told me that, so I just would make myself connect with this person no matter what, even if I was having a bad time. I was telling some of the other people yesterday that I remember like dating somebody for a long time and it getting up to Thanksgiving. We like weren't official or anything, and he was like, "Do you want to like come meet my family?" And I like woke up. And I went, "What? I don't like this person."
Oh.
It like got to the holidays, and I was like, "What am I doing?"
Wow.
And I was just people pleasing, being like, "Oh, this is good, this is good, this is good." I'm not single, and I'm people pleasing. And I think you can burn so much of your early dating years just not connecting to who you are and what you want.
Yeah, having your priorities set. I think the one thing that I definitely have learned is making sure that you know it's a date. That and remembering that you have a list of things you need to check off from a person.
Yeah.
And not needing to complete someone else's
Their list.
Because
yes.
if I'm trying so hard to hit all their boxes, I'm probably not being my genuine self, and then I'm forgetting about my list entirely.
Yeah, you're not hearing the boxes of yours that are being ignored. You're not hearing those red flags because you're too worried about doing what they want.
Yeah, I think that is a very valuable thing, is remembering in the dating process of a developing relationship is remember that you are still your own person. And it's not like, yay, I found somebody, time to and be that. Just remember to be by yourself and be away from it so that you can have a fresh brain, fresh mindset, and be the sanest person you can be, not just, because I hyperfixate on a successful relationship, or I used to at least.
Just acting like it's about getting success.
Yeah, success.
Success.
Well, I'm done talking to you now. That's how I'll end my date from now on. No, that was really fun. I feel like we learned a lot about each other.
I know, I feel like we were very similar. That's why I said I feel like we were very similar when we were young.
Yeah, I feel like I learned a little bit about myself.
Me too.
Yeah, this is really fun. We're definitely gonna keep this going. Please, in the comments, it doesn't have to just be about dating. We want to try other stuff like flirting. It's a whole other thing. Put in the comments down below what subjects you want us to talk about. Why we're bad at flirting. Why we're bad at breakups, and it doesn't have to be in the relationship dating vein. Why we're bad at job interviews. Why we're bad at spending. Why we're bad at saving. Why we're bad at sex.
Why we're bad about talking about sex.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Watch more stuff.
Keep watching The View.
Keep watching it. Oh, I gotta get back on the apps.